Shirley Jenkins, naturopathic doctor here at Pure Natural Health and Wellness, where we're discussing our top 10 tips for healthy living naturally. Today I'll be discussing tip number 7, connect with nature. And we advise you to get enough vitamin G by being outside surrounded by green space daily. The idea of green space being fundamental to well-being has become such a popular research subject in recent years that a study used the term vitamin G to refer to green space, implying that it is essential for our health and well-being. A study done a couple of years ago concluded that something about green space changes the way people perceive their lives. The further people live from open green spaces, the more lonely they perceive themselves to be, and the closer people live to green spaces, the less impact the stressful events in their lives seem to have on them. While that study showed how connecting with nature is important for mental health, we also know from this growing body of research that it's important for physical health too. For example, a recent study of patients recovering from surgery revealed that those in a hospital room with a view of a treed courtyard required less pain medication and recovered more quickly than those patients recovering from the same surgery but in rooms with a view of the adjacent building. This brings me to recent research on a traditional Japanese practice called Shinrin-yoku, which translates as forest bathing or taking in the forest environment with all senses. Many scientific studies have been published on Shinrin-yoku in the last several years showing that compared with exposure to city environments, forest exposure promotes lower concentrations of the stress hormone cortisol, lower pulse rate, lower blood pressure, increased blood flow to the brain such that it's reflective of a meditative state. So greater relaxation response activity and lower stress response activity. Cognitive restoration also happens when we're exposed to nature. So researchers would cognitively tax people, get them to do complex equations and memory recall, and then take one of 2 walks. So then they would have another set of cognitive tests, and those subjects that walked in green spaces performed better cognitively with a lasting effect than those test subjects who walked in an urban environment after being taxed and then performing more cognitive tasks. There's a layer of protection against psychological stress that happens from exposure to nature that has a lasting effect. And there are also lasting effects on exposure to nature on the immune system. So forest bathing improves natural killer cell function. This is our first line of defense against colds and flus and cancer. There's a link from our Pure Facebook page to a YouTube video featuring my dear old classmate from the Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine, Dr. Alan Logan, who is a faculty member of Harvard School of Continuing Medical Education. Check out the video to see researchers in Japan discussing their findings and the forest settings where Shinrin-yoku and the testing is practiced. Dr. Logan compiles this research in his new book, Your Brain on Nature, The Science of Nature's Influence on Your Health, Happiness, and Vitality, which is available on Amazon.com. So I've just described some of the benefits of nature immersion. What about the consequences of nature deprivation? There's another book that compiles research on health effects of spending time in nature that I have as part of my lending library for my patients, and that is Last Child in the Woods, Saving Our Children from Nature Deficit Disorder. It's by Richard Louv. Louv coined the phrase nature deficit disorder to refer to the negative health effects of not spending time in nature on kids, including ADHD, asthma, obesity, depression, and bullying behavior. In our ebook, we give you suggestions on how you can connect with nature daily. So grounding yourself with gardening, surrounding your home and your office with plants and with pictures of nature, taking neighborhood walks with your family, going on nature walks and hikes and getting into the forest to take it all in, walking barefoot outdoors, just in your backyard will connect you to nature, driving in the country, On your lunch hour, taking a walk around your office building, owning a pet is another great way to help us feel connected to nature.